a new season, but still the same adventure, 4 tracks, and still the urge to win the championship for SBR British Touring Car Championship Season 3. And the first stop is at Dragon Trail Seaside, as you can see in that helpful picture. And here's the drivers. So we got Ross and Craigie in the Subaru, Osler and Colombero in the Renault, Cool and Milden in the Alfa Romeo or Mitsubishi, Sharp and Piper in the Ford Mustang. Then we've got Reagan and Suter in the Mazda. That's Edwards and Tompkinson, the reigning champion, in the Toyota. Welsh and Liam in the BMW, and I think it was Nick and John initially in the Halford Hyundai. The grid, well, Lewis was on pole from Liam and Sean, with Adam and Ashley in 5th. So we get ready for the race, and a tricky track with some fast sections, a twisty section, and a couple hairpins thrown in. Should be good. We've got the 5 red lights and the revs are up and we're all away, and some of the 4-wheel drive cars are flashing through from the back. Yep, you can see the Subaru's flying through, and Ben obviously qualified really badly, doesn't like the track, doesn't seem to get on with it, so disappointment for the Season 1 champion, but is worrying about that later. This is here and now, and Sean seems to lead into the first corner and does, and here we followed through by somebody, but no one seems to decide who. Liam's gone off already and is already down to 7th place. Didn't see what happened there. He'll get swallowed up by the pack now with no acceleration, so he's down to 10th already. Ben with a flyer up from, I think it was 11th on the grid, and that looked like Liam again into the wall. It was definitely a BMW of some description, and Andrew's had a wretched start as well. He's in 15th, and it was Liam again. And with the new damage that's on for this season, with heavy damage on, he crawled back to the pits and have to get that repaired. Meanwhile, it's war in the midfield. They're going full wide in places, and then more contact, and it's that's how Liam did actually crash, so he did catch it, so good from the cameraman there. And that was how it happened. 3 into 1 doesn't go. But out front it's still Sean from Lewis, from Adam in the Mustang. I'll try and get through who's driving what. Leon there in the BMW, followed by Ben, who's come up from 11th on the grid, as we mentioned, and he's got Will behind him by the looks of it. And it is. That's ahead of Nick there in his own maid livery. So it looks the business. So well done to him. Through into the hairpin, and it's still the same story. And a few others going side by side. Look like Will just fending off Nick, and that's left Nick vulnerable to Jeff, who's also in the Renault there, in the shredded wheat Renault. As they flash through this horrible chicane, and this is the worst part. You've got to carry the speed, and if you don't, you're in trouble. And Ben hasn't. He's hit both balls, and that's the end of his race pretty much. He'll have to crawl back to the pits, much like Liam, and that's his race pretty well done already. So into the hairpin, which is the last corner on the track. Everyone seems to be behaving themselves. Maybe it's the new damage model that's making them a bit scared. We've only really had incidents of people losing it. Few little knocks here and there, but well, Leon up in 4th. It's a brand new season with brand new cars, and we're getting a brand new lineup at the moment. And yeah, Sean's recycled his car. His wheels down the inside of Jeff to try and take that place back, and not happening. So Jeff moves up into 5th, goes really wide, strikes up the sparks and gets gravel on the track. And that's enough for Nick to come through as well. He just waited for that and saw it happening in front of him and took advantage of it. Just behind that, it looks like it's Ashley, who's in 8th place. 9th was... Ooh, yeah, Brian, it was 9th. And we're just watching the end of that one with Chris. And here come all the guys that had to pit. So you got basically 12th place down. So Ben, Andrew, Liam, and Will, by the looks of it. So, or Dean, was it? Probably Dean. Yeah, Will's up in 6th at the moment. It's quite hard to see because the screen's quite small when we do these recordings. So there's Nick, there's Ash, there is Brian doing a great job. 10th is Rob. Rob's standing in for Nathan, but will actually replace a driver that's also dropped out, which is John. So he will score his own points tonight. He won't be scoring points for Nathan, so that's important to know. As the battle for the lead intensifies, really intensifies, as Sean tries to come over and cover Lewis. Always try to say Liam. But yeah, does a good job with that. Manages to keep Lewis behind him, but Lewis looks the faster of the two at the moment in his Alan Mann liveried car, which is like, if you want to look for that, it's the 1960s Ford Escort Mark 1, and he's going down now the inside of turn 1, which would be the outside for turn 2, so I don't see that happening unless he can brake really late, but it's quite hard to brake much later than a four-wheel drive car. And here is the midfield. We've got Jeff, Will, and of course Nick, as we mentioned. They come out of this corner now, and sort of different designs there really. We got front wheel drive, rear wheel drive and four wheel drive in that battle pack. And there's Ash, who really was looking forward to this race, but he's down in 11th right now, but he's shown some really fast pace over the week, so let's see if he can battle back from there. Let's go through this fast section again. Nice sweeping corners. You can get a good run on someone through here and then try to get them down at the hairpin. And it looks like Adam's trying to make a move around the outside of Lewis, and it doesn't normally work, and I doubt it'll work this time because he'll just get run out a bit like that, I would say. And sideways from Adam in the Mustang, it hangs on to it, and Leon's still doing well, up in 4th place. He'll have a nosebleed at this point through this horrible chicane again that no one's really a fan of, I'm sure, because first part's very easy, second part you just basically got to try and get it right, but that's the place that most people struggled, especially these guys at the back here. And there's Dean just doing the one-off drive down in 15th, had basically no time to practice, so stood in to help me out, so thanks for that, Dean. Down the start straight for the 4th time, and Sean it is that still leads from Lewis, and Adam's dropped back a little bit probably after that scary moment with Lewis. A little lock up there from the Mitsubishi sideways from the Toyota, but he manages to gather it all up, and that'll put Adam right back on his trumpet. So they head down here to try and go over some of the rules before any more action kicks off. Heavy damage is on now, it wasn't before. Side contact penalties are on now, where it wasn't before, because some of the driving was getting a little bit out of hand through the whole field, so not just one particular driver but many, so we were trying to calm it down, and it does seem to have worked. People are sort of thinking about their overtakes a bit more, but Leon seems to have hit disaster and is down to 11th place. Obviously must have had a problem at the chicane of death. Liam's still back in 5th, 14th, so not a good start for the BMW guys. Their RCIB liveried car, which most people seem to think looks nice. For me, the Rapid Fit one's probably my favourite, but go with that. And obviously our Alfa Romeo one. So Sean's getting away as these two start to get in a bit of a battle. So Sean's pulled probably like a second and a half, I would say that is, which is quite a lot. But look, we know Lewis has got some serious pace. He took pole position, so surely it's a matter of time before he gets back onto the back. If we just get a couple clean laps. And here's a battle for 4th, elevated because of the issues, and there's another issue there, and that looks like Will travelling slowly, so he's done the same thing at the chicane, I would say, as Leon did probably a lap ago. So I think Leon's gone around to see if it'll count down and go, but it isn't going to. Heavy damage is on, so it was more sparks, and this is how it happened. Yeah, he did. He called exactly the same as Ben. Game steering doesn't react fast enough, or doesn't react at all, and he's hit the inside barrier and it's thrown him straight out into the outside one, so he'll have to pit for serious damage. So yeah, that's elevating a few people. Here's 11th, 12th and 13th right now, and that is Leon dropping back with the damage, so yeah, he's got no top speed at all. So that moves Ben up to 11th, which is probably not where he thought he would be racing. He'll probably get 10th because of Will's pit stop, and Liam also on the fight back, but for Leon that's probably the end of any serious points for him today. As Will comes out, yes, he loses out to Ben. He'll probably lose out to Andrew, I would say, because Andrew's going to be at full pelt, and there he is. Oh, that was close. Training better paint. Not so sure ginger and yellow go together. But here's a man doing a great job. That's Chris. up in 9th place at the moment. Just teammate, I believe, is up in 7th, so it's looking great for the Subarus right now. So it's quite hard to see from that graphic, so if I'm wrong, I'm very sorry. I'm not. Down the inside though goes Nick, and he's got it covered. That's a good pass. Jeff will appreciate that. As an American, he will appreciate a good pass like that. Whoa, that's close from Lewis, but it's got him through chicane super speed, and it's got him ahead of Adam. So it's difficult to know how to take that chicane. I have no idea how you do it really. You could take it flat and still be slow on the exit, so I don't really understand it. But all this is playing into Sean's hands. Sean's doubled his lead, I would say, this lap. It's got to be about 2.5 seconds, which is not a double of 1.5 seconds. So again, my maths is terrible. And it looks like these two are just battling and need to figure out who's the faster and just follow that guy. But right now they're too busy with each other, and Sean's just laughing as he drives into the distance. And again, more contact as they bang doors. It's kind of common with these two because they know each other, so a bit more acceptable between friends, I guess. But yeah, the lights are all on. It's early in the morning here, so hence the lights. We'll have a midday race, and then we'll have an evening race. And this is still this battle for 4th, 5th and 6th, and it looks like Nick's just trying to break away now, but Rob's caught up in 6th place there, the other Alaman car for this weekend. But I can reveal that he will drive the second Hyundai with Nick as from next week, so look out for that. And Nathan will be back to drive his number 1 car. And this is battle for 7th and 8th, so Brian doing a great job. He's been caught by Ash, so Ash has come up 3 places already and is on a bit of a mission. He's doing the same sort of lap times as the leaders, and he'll look down the inside of the hairpin. That's a late move, dives out, but Brian always gives a little bit of room for people that make overtaking guesses. I don't know what the correct word is. Opportunities, that'll do. And it's worked for Ash. He's through. There's a little bit of contact on the exit, but he's through. He's got his L plates on, so he's got an excuse. And L for lunatic in this case, I would say. But through in 9th place. Chris doing a great job. Don't know what's going on there. Looked like Will was into the back of Ben a little bit there. Not sure why or how or what day it is, but it didn't work, whatever that was. And that's only put him under pressure now from Liam. And Ben is pretty much hopeless through that chicane, as you can see. He's getting absolutely annihilated down the straight here, but did actually get earlier damage from Leon when Leon was cruising. Leon was just sat in the middle of the straight doing about 10 miles an hour, and Ben unfortunately punted him up the back for the chicane. So it's just a bit of a warning really to all guys, if you get this damage, just to move out of the racing line and putt around, just stay out of the way of the racing cars. But yeah, big damage for Ben, and as you can see down the straight, he's getting annihilated. And that puts him back down to 11th place. Remember, there's points down to 15th place, so still in the points. In the background there looked like Chris. So Chris has obviously either decided to pit for tactical reasons, because this place is quite hard on tyres, or he's got damage that we didn't notice. So maybe he got damage through the chicane that we didn't see. That's pretty much the only place you can really have a bad accident. And here's 4th and 5th. So with Rob having got past Jeff, he's now making his move on Nick. So Rob's got some serious pace in that car. If he can get up into 4th, he's got some free air to run into for the rest of the race, which is over half distance now. Through this horrible poxy chicane again we go. I don't really know how they do that. But it's a bit of a pot luck, I think. But he's already breaking away from those guys. And in the background you can actually see Ash is closing in already on them. So Ash could still be on for a great result. You thought he would be. And Brian already in 8th place and with a big gap back, so he should be getting some good points already out of this first race, because there's 9th and they're only just coming through the tunnel, so yeah, he's got a fair lead on them. Ben hanging on despite the damage, but he won't be pleased with this. Would have expected more, I'm sure of it. Just trying to think if there's any more rules that you need to know. different from last season, but don't think it really is. Other than the fact that we are now using all the GR4 cars except for the Alfa Romeo, and obviously a couple others like the AMG and Lamborghini, etc. So basically any car that could basically pass as looking like a touring car. That was the rule. So you got the Toyotas, the Hyundais, the Renaults, etc. So you can put any livery you want on it, and that's what the guys have chosen. So that's the Alan Mann livery. There's a Rapid Ford one just ahead of that. There's the then you got the Alfa Romeo one that's leading. And speaking of the lead, that was 2-3 seconds, and that is not that now. So that's more like 2-3 thousandths. Into the wall goes Lewis, but that was only minor contact, so he'll probably get away with that. But he is close very rapidly on Sean, so I don't know if Sean made a mistake, but if you look back to Adam, that's about where they were before. So I think Lewis has just whacked in a couple of blinders and caught up with Sean. Lewis was by far the quickest earlier during the practice, so he's obviously got the pace, obviously. And here's Ash, he's got a 0.5 penalty, but he is in 6th place, he's ahead of Andrew. And now he's trying to work on to the back of Nick. Now, I think Ash's best finish was a 6th place, so he's in line to match that. But can he beat it? I think that'd be a very good start for him. Although he did say this is his favourite track, so he'd be wanting to do very well around here, so maybe he won't be so happy with that. 10th place for Ben, but it looks like he's going in the pits again with that damage from earlier. And here he comes. Yep, he's coming in. Probably change the tyres, may as well. And if he stays there, that means he's got damage, so he has. Yep. So that probably put him down to about 12th. Meanwhile, at the front, Sean still leads from Lewis, and Adam's caught straight back up as well, so something else has happened, I would say. In those 3-4 corners that we've not seen these guys, the gap's really closed down again. 3-4 corners, probably like half a lap to be honest. And then they come through this tricky chicane, which I will call the bollocks chicane. And here it comes. This bit's just bollocks, to be honest. I don't know what, yeah. And then through that, and down to this last corner, which I'm sure is going to be the difference between these guys come the end of the race. Whoever gets in here first will win, I'm pretty sure of it. Ooh, Lewis can hold a really tight line through there, and that's got him pretty much onto the back of Sean. He is now literally peeling the bumper stickers off. And he should be a little bit quicker down the straight, I would have thought. Let's see. Well, he has probably got minor damage from that chicane bump. But he's holding on in the slipstream, looking down the inside. Sean covers it, switches to the outside. That won't work. And over the curbs goes Sean. Sean holds a tight line for the second part, but Lewis has got the run and he's up the inside. Adam's got a run on both of them, so will this... And Lewis is through. No, he's done it. Adam's thinking about it, but backs out of it. He won't get around the outside. And he doesn't. So Lewis takes the lead, and is that the end of that? Who knows? 3 laps, 2.5 laps to decide what happens in this race. Not missing much back further, still 4th, and Ash actually has got up to 5th, so we have missed something. Ash is up to 5th ahead of Nick, Jeff 7th, and 8th for Brian still, so Brian's still in that 8th place doing a great job. It does look like Lewis is just slowly making the break. And down the inside from Adam, that's late and probably a bit ambitious. If you're going to make the move, you're going to make it, that's going to happen. And he may even get damage from that, so he's going to have to be careful through the bullshit chicane, or the bollocks chicane, I can't remember what I called it. Through they go. It's just weird how the cars go through there, they look wrong, but that's just my opinion. That no one really wants. And then into the last corner they go, about to start the penultimate lap, so things are starting to get a bit more tense, and it does look like Sean can hold on to Lewis. You'd think Lewis could just break away at any moment because with the speed he had, but no, Sean is able to hold on. Adam, if anything's the one that just holds on to them when they make mistakes, but he doesn't seem quite as quick. that might be damage show, so I might be doing him an injustice. Maybe we should do this in French because I can't do English. And now down to this real fast sweeper, which you've got to get right and then get your braking point nailed into this tricky second to third gear corner, depends which car you're in. And then out they come, and then down into the fast sections, just looking back to see who's where and what. Ash, as we mentioned, is 5th, so that would be career best for him. 6th then for Nick. I can never remember his damn name, for Christ's sake. And Ben in 10th, let's not talk about that. 11th for Chris. And then it looks like 12th for Andrew it is. And Will miles back in 13th after many issues, and Team RSC are at the back with both cars suffering damage in this race. But this is the pointy end as we head to the bollocks chicane again. Through they come, flat out. This part's not so bad. This part, they got to hit the first curve, and then the second one sort of drags them in weirdly, and then out through they go. And then this last corner, and then in a lap's time this will be the sight, I'm sure of it, that will decide the race. Though Lewis is seemingly holding that like 2 car length advantage. In the corner he goes sideways, and got it a bit wrong I think, because he's gone wide on the exit, so it looked like it was a bit too sideways, and it just compromised his line, and Sean's now right there because that Alpha or Mitsubishi will get off the last corner like a bullet, and he's alongside and he's taken the lead. The graphic says that he's in the lead, so he is, and he is. So he'll cover the inside and take the lead. Now he's done the same, locked the back wheels, and that's put Lewis back in the lead, and Sean's bottled it there right at the last, and now he may even lose second place to Adam. Adam's got a good run and has the position. He surely will take that. There's not much coming back from that for Sean. He'll try and come around the outside, but that's not really going to happen, so falls over the curb. But yeah, shouldn't have really bothered with that one. Should have done really what he's doing right now, which is get the cut back, get the run down the hill. But Lewis looks like he's got this made now, and he's got a good lead of about a second or so, and those boys will not catch that unless there's a mistake. But this late in the race, surely he can just cope with that. These guys are battling like badgers as they head down towards the hairpin. Round the outside from Sean, and he's done it. He shows the outside does work, so I'll just stop talking basically. Round the outside of Adam, we've got the lighter car I suppose, so it will work, and into this first part, into the second part. So Lewis gets this second part right, he is home and free. He's sideways, he's hit the wall, big damage surely for that, and that's going to put Sean onto him, and Sean's got a big run through that chicane, and he's closing him down. He'll switch to the inside, he's done it. Lewis didn't cover it, I can't believe he didn't. And down the inside goes Sean, and Sean just gets this stop now, and there's a bit of contact as Lewis looked for the cutback, which wasn't on, and Lewis goes off again and sideways, lost the car. Well, he hit Adam. Adam's seen it coming, good avoidance, and Lewis loses the car and spins out the lead and completely bottles the race, and Sean wins from Adam. And Lewis will surely get across third, but there won't be much left of his car. And he does. He'll be upset with himself for that. Teammate for the night comes home 4th, but is scoring points for himself. And 5th for Ash. He's got to be happy with that. That's a career best for Ashley. Well done to him. 6th for Nick. Nick will be happy just not to finish 8th. 7th looks like it's going to be Brian. So Brian will get 7th place. Well done, Brian. That's got to be another career best. 8th for Jeff. 9th for Liam. He will not be pleased, and you can tell. He'll be screaming all sorts of Scottish abuse in that helmet right now. And 10th for Ben. And let's just skip to 11th. 11th was Chris. We'll see him shortly, but a terrible race for the other Alfa Romeo driver, Mitsubishi. 11th in the Subaru is Chris, backing up his teammates' efforts. Quite a good night for Subaru. 12th Andrew, and 13th will be Will. Will. And it is, and that completes the finishes. And there, just to confirm it, and the fastest lap went to Adam on lap 2, so well done to him. And then that's the bottom page. Last and not finishing was Leon. So join us for race 2 very shortly here at SBR.